I accidentally didn't make it to the bathroom on time at school once when I was 7. No one knows that I did it on purpose. I already know that everyone on this subreddit is judging me hardcore, but please read this entire post before commenting. I'm going to give some context for my non-Australian friends out there. In Australia, in grade 3, 5, 7 and 9, all students are required to complete something called NAPLAN testing. NAPLAN testing consists of a group of standardized tests that is similar to the SATs in the US and are done over roughly 2 to 4 days. The result of NAPLAN testing is sent to the Bureau of Statistics and are then used to alter education curriculums and identify what areas in reading, writing, spelling and numeracy that the kids in that year group are struggling with. These are tests that you cannot study for or cheat on in any way, and the material on the tests are kept top secret until the day of the test. This piece of information is important for the story. Don't worry. I did my first test, like many others, in grade 3. I was 7 years old at the time. During this exam, however, instead of having our regular teachers supervising us, we had a lady from the government office looking over us. This woman was scary. She was like that one gym coach that took everything way too seriously and was overly strict with rules. One of the weird rules that this lady put in place was that during the test, roughly 2 hours long, we were not permitted to leave the room at any time. This included getting a drink of water, stretching your legs, and going to the bathroom. To make sure of this, she locked the front door with a key. Looking back, this is an insane thing to ask of a classroom of 7 and 8-year-old kids who have no control of when they need to go to the bathroom. The test began as usual, and around 20 minutes in, I felt the need to use the bathroom. However, I was a very shy kid who never asked adults anything and always kept to myself. So due to my fear of this lady and my fear of confrontation, I held it. Around 10 minutes go by and I decide to ask if I can use the bathroom. I raise my hand. The lady comes over to my desk. I ask to go to the bathroom and she refuses. I simply say, "Okay, miss," and continue to hold it. Another 5 minutes go by and I raise my hand again to use the bathroom. As I was getting desperate and couldn't focus on my test, she came over and refuses. I said, "Okay, miss," and tried to get by while holding it. This went on another 2 times. At this point, it was roughly 45 minutes into the 2-hour test, and I'm physically struggling to hold it. I'm angry, I'm embarrassed, and could not focus at all on the material in front of me. I decide to ask this lady for a 5th time to use the bathroom. She still didn't get the hint that I genuinely needed to go. When I raised my hand for the 5th time, she glared at me and stormed over to my desk. She tells me that she knows that I'm trying to leave so I can cheat on the test and that she doesn't like naughty little fakers like me. My blood was beginning to boil at this point, as I had followed the rules the whole time. There was no way for a 7-year-old to cheat on a test where no one had the answers, and that it was very obvious that I genuinely needed to use the bathroom. The lady looked at me dead in the eyes and scolded at me to sit down and be quiet. I simply said, "Okay, miss," and stayed silent. She walked back up to the front of the classroom and sat back at the desk to supervise. At this point, all of the other kids in my class knew that I was essentially being picked on by this teacher and began to visibly feel bad for me. My frequent hand raising was distracting them as well, as it isn't often that a kid raises their hand that much during a test. I knew that there was no way for me to complete this test while badly needing the bathroom. Everyone knows the feeling of needing the bathroom so bad that it's all they can think about. I was raging at this, as I had lost my focus, and that this lady was being mean to me for absolutely no reason at all. So I decided to have a bit of fun. I raised my hand for the 6th time. I waited for this lady to notice my raised hand. When she did, she looked infuriated, and simply horrifying. She had had enough of my shenanigans and actually lost her temper. What? What is it now? I locked eyes with this woman and stared at her. Everyone else in the classroom snapped their heads up, as their focus was now broken by her yelling. I stared, and then I let it loose. I peed on purpose, all over the chair in a silent classroom, all while making direct eye contact with the woman who refused to let me go. Because I was so mad and now immediately regretting my decision, I began to cry of embarrassment. I was so pissed off at this lady that I physically couldn't hold my bladder and raged peed in the classroom to prove a point. It took this lady about 2 seconds to realize what was happening, and her anger turned to shock. Wow, a grown woman shocked that refusing a 7-year-old to use the bathroom would result in them being unable to hold it. She ran over to me while I was still crying of embarrassment, covered in pee, grabbed me by the wrist and rushed me out of the classroom and to the school office. I'm still sobbing while I was given a change of clothes and got permission to skip the rest of the test. When I got back to class, everyone asked me if I was okay once they heard me crying during the test, and how I accidentally wet myself during the test. I went along with the accusation and told them that it was an accident. It wasn't. I was a petty little girl with no social confidence who raged peed during a test at the age of 7. The reason that I'm saying this now is because NAPLAN testing has commenced for the year in Australia as of this week. And talking about it, and as an adult, now remind me of this incident and how I never told anyone that it was on purpose. Feel free to judge me now. I needed to get this off my chest, hence why I posted this on subreddit. And I can think of this story when I need to channel some petty energy and confidence to do daring shit. Thanks for reading. Peace and love.